Where's the settings, babe? We got to get in the settings, remember? The meeting settings, so we can turn off the waiting room. It says see waiting room right there, babe. Admit all, yeah. But mute all. Hey, everybody. We are not the most proficient in this yet, so. Cool. You got the recording on, right? Wee. Are you going to be in session? I'm right here. Yeah, can everybody hear us all right? Does the mic sound good?
Pretty good. I got my volume up.
Kathy, if you don't mind.
Pardon?
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I can hear you pretty good. Let me try this.
Yeah, so, well, I mean, I think I'll talk about us first, and then you can share the PowerPoint. Sweet. Beautiful wife, Sarah. Weenie.
Hey.
I gotta get used to like looking up there.
Oh yeah.
Kind of, but
Camera.
we got the screen right here, so it's kind of like maybe I'll change it up in the future. So welcome to the course. Thank you for not only investing your time with us, but also trusting us enough to support us in our mission, our vision. I've been at this in health and fitness for about 18 years now, exactly half my life. Sarah's been with me on it for the last 10. But it's been quite a long journey. This has been something that Sarah's pushed me to do for a long time. I don't know why, for one reason or another, I've never done it, but here's the time now. I'm glad it can be. After all this stuff I've learned over almost 2 decades, all the different situational experience, in a very unique time in this world, this is something where I think a lot of people are using it to a positive to find more things to invest in themselves, learn about themselves, prevent things that are, obviously a threat to our bodies through doing these things. But in this course, we hope to not only just do what you guys have already seen me. Obviously, most of you, I assume, have followed me or been referred by somebody who follows me. So I don't want to just make it everything you've seen, but we want to bring the whole dynamic, because I've never really shown it. I've tried to train people on how to do it. That's always the big question, is who I'm going to train to carry on the legacy of the work. Because it's been 10 years and I still really don't see the bar being pushed in therapy. I still think that most people are unfortunately restricted by whether it's insurance or whatever it is, but they can't practice the way they want, and therefore people aren't getting the therapy that they want. I hear it all the time. People get right to the scary stuff, and then they just don't want to free it up. And they don't want to take the risk, quote unquote. Somebody told them it's something that might be risky or whatever. In this, we're going to go over. Sarah's going to do a PowerPoint she put together, and she's going to show you basically the course diagram. I'll explain in detail. Then we're going to go. This one's kind of going to be like the first mock run and everything. I just wanted to make sure this all worked and everything. That's why I'm doing 2 a week, because we're going to do it as a lot of this will be outlined in the PowerPoint, but we want to do 2 sessions a week, because I feel like half of the people or some of the people who are watching may never have a partner, and therefore I want to do a partner session, and we want to do a self-therapy session. So no matter what topic we're covering, you're always going to be able to be the person that is going to be getting information that applies to you. Every week you will have a different video. Most of these are going to be an hour. I say that, but I've been notorious. Live on Instagram actually cuts me off, so this one won't. So we'll see how long they go. But I'll try and keep it short and concise. This will probably be the most that I talk as far as just, kind of like open dialogue. The rest of it will be very pinpointed. I've done this over 15,000 sessions, so I'm very used to the dialogue of explaining things to people and what I'm doing. And even people who have no prior knowledge have no idea what I'm doing, and they still can get it from what I'm saying. So I've been, especially these last few weeks, I've been really trying to see, like, if I could just talk to just anybody and say something and get them to understand what I'm trying to convey. Do you want to do the PowerPoint? Maybe we'll get the, you guys can't see the wires we have and stuff going on back here, so maybe we'll get that to where we don't have a, oh no. So Sarah's going to share the PowerPoint with us. It's going to be very basic, and then we're going to get right to it. Is that the beginning? Sweet. All right. So in the Muscle Whisperer course, what's our goal? What's our overall belief? What are we aiming to achieve with the people who come? And how do we create that environment? Overall, I mean, our entire goal with our mission has always been tying the line of something to something. And typically it's tying the lines of truth to your body, whatever that means. And in this, we're going to tie the lines between stability and mobility, hopefully creating the next innovation in health professionals. And that just means for yourself. What is a health professional? I mean, there's all these acronyms and things and stuff, you know, at the end of our names, but in reality, a PhD requires about 7,700 hours, 8,000 hours, and people put that amount of time in, I think they would have the similar kind of knowledge base. We've always stood by align the body and align the mind, and then also align the body structurally and relieve muscular pain. So people ask me what I do. I always say, you know, when it's active release or neuromuscular or reflexology, it's all soft tissue therapy. People can put a fancy spin on whatever they want to do just because some doctor made it popular, but it is all soft tissue therapy. So there is no right or wrong modality. There is no say all be all. There's no right training. There's no wrong training. There's no, I hate cupping because it feels like 50 little kids are pinching me for an hour. But I have friends who are seriously into that kind of masochist, really like they like the pain. So I never liked that, but I know people who desire that and they get great results from it. So even things that I don't like, I'm never going to shy away from. I'm never going to tell you that you shouldn't do it. And therefore I try to leave it open. I don't want to reject anybody who comes in who might say that cupping was the thing that changed their life and got them out of a wheelchair. And here I am saying something to shoot it down. So everything's open for us. You can go to the next slide, baby. So in this course layout, it's real simple. I didn't want this to be complex because I, probably more so than most people watching this, I will freak out in my own mind if it just gets to be too much. I believe the body's simple. I believe that the course should be simple because I don't want you guys to feel like, just like so many people thought they had to be a licensed practitioner or whatever it is they had in their mind. But there's no prerequisite to this, but yourself, your body, and your mind, and a commitment to willing to try it. Because that was me. Nobody taught me. And I went back and taught myself. After teaching myself, I went back and became educated in multiple techniques, certifications, whatever it was. And my background was movement science and personal training. But so anybody can do this. If you don't have a partner, like I said, I didn't want to discriminate or isolate a certain group of people out because all they would do is watch, and to some degree, they're really not going to get it if they can't apply it. If they're not seeing stuff that they can apply every week, then why would you pay for it? So each segment of the body will include one partner therapy and one self-therapy video per week. Every class, I'm going to use the Theragun because I'm going to do this no different than I would do it for myself. We'll have a Q&A at the end where I'll try and figure out. Right now, we're going to have to do this one as a test run to see how I can hear you and also not have it do the that it was doing earlier when me and Sarah were testing it out. Yeah, we were close, so maybe it won't do it. So we'll try and do a live Q&A at the end. That's why I wanted to do the lives in case people would. I mean, if you guys are going to come spend some time with me, we wanted to keep these to about an hour, and we want to spend the last, few minutes of that answering questions as much as we can. So you're going to see some of the sequences that we do throughout this. I'm basically going to break it down. I don't know if you put that in here, babe, but we're going to start with like movements. Here's the segments of the body. I'll break that down first. And you can see how I break it down. It's going to have 12 weeks in each block. This course is never going to end until I go off grid, and I'm going to try and continue it out there even when I do that. I don't think that'll probably be sometime next year. So there's going to be a lot of course material on this, but every 12 weeks we'll go through the whole body and basically then kind of do a test out just so people can feel like they have a form of completion when they go through it, not like just this ever going thing that's going to, never end. So we'll start today. We're going to go through everything from basically your shoulder blades or the bottom of your pecs and up. That would be everything that's going to consist of your neck, your shoulders and stuff. Everything involves everything. So when people were like, how are you going to break this out? That's really hard to do because, the lat goes from the back of your arm in here, right through here where it meets onto the delts. What makes your shoulder cap is that and the chest coming across. So the lat goes from there all the way down to the bottom of your back. It's really hard to I can't not involve the lat when I'm fixing the arm, right? So everything's kind of involve everything, but we're going to try and segment into pieces where we'll go from everything from the chest up. Then we're going to go basically through the rib cage region and everything through the lower back, go into like pelvic region with glutes and hips, quads, hamstrings, everything from the knees down. And then we'll do a session where we'll do the feet and the hands. And anybody watching live too, please wave if I talk too fast because I'm notorious for doing that. Here you can see we're just going to go through it. Yeah, we got it. Oh, go to the more. Click again. Get that thing on the right. The more. Yeah. Where is it? I know, but just go back to the meeting settings. I do it every week on meeting info. Is that it? Right there. You just clicked it. Meeting info down. There you go. That's not it. You got to get the settings. Okay, anyways, you can just do it for now. We'll figure it out. So here you can see everything through the neck, sternocleidomastoid, the muscles down the front. You can scalenes down the side. You can see everything that we're going to work down through the chest and how it layers up in the pec muscles from, pec minor running up through and down into the nipple region, and the whole big portion of the pec, different bicep muscles, tricep muscles. Again, I'm not going to be super complex with this. I am going to show stuff like this at the beginning of every course, have Sarah put something together like that so we can get an idea, because a visual like this really does give you an idea of how the traps look, how the pecs look, upper pecs you can see over there versus your pec, the major. You can see basically a perfect description on the top left of tech neck from what we're doing right now, which is looking at screens and looking down. But you can see everything that's connected to that, how it draws the shoulders forward, how your back muscles all through there are going to get longer, and what it creates pretty much for every human being today. There's rarities, just like you almost never see a posterior pelvic tilt unless you see somebody very old and very slow, because they will have very, very small hip gait, and therefore their butt will tuck up under them. You have to actually move into the glutes, fire the glutes. So if somebody has a butt, they almost never have a posterior pelvic tilt. Pretty much every human being has got a curve back where they're like this. That's anterior, and then posterior would be like that, Almost never do you see the posterior. Just almost never do you see somebody who doesn't have tech neck, because it's the same reason I tell somebody don't fix your back muscles up through here with a ball like you see so often on YouTube now when you're trying to fix shoulder pain, because most people sit at a desk for 8 hours a day or whatever they're doing to some degree in their house or driving and things like that. So if you weaken the back muscles and your chest muscles are actually the ones pulling everything forward like this, then those tight pec muscles are still going to keep pulling that if you loosen this up first. So you're better off to open the chest up, drop the shoulder back. And then while your chest is sore, when you're sitting at the desk, you're not going to put pressure on it like that. The body's going to want to keep you up like this, where you're pulling off of the chest. And then you can go back into the back muscles after. Or like today, we'll show you how to go through all of it. So, okay.
Whoa.
Worse. Can't predict Amazon, huh?
Nope.
All right. So everybody's so fixated on muscles and joints, but in reality, the superficial lines that we see here, these are the lines of fascia. It's a really big, trendy word today. That surround and encompass pretty much everything. If you didn't have these lines right here, the biggest bodybuilder would fall right to the ground.
Right.
So these are what the muscles push against in order to produce force. You see the far left ones, the ones we're going to work a lot of today with the arm lines, and these are called the superficial lines because they're basically tissue lines that run the whole body. The back one is the second one you see over there. That's over to the the first full length one on the body. That basically runs from behind your eye up over your head, all the way down your back to the bottom of your foot, and it's one piece.
Wow.
The one next to it is the superficial front line, and that is the one that basically it stabilizes the entire front. Over to the spiral line you see over there, so on and so forth. So these lines are really when you get into like, once I learned about these, I started doing a lunge with almost every exercise, and I was elongating the whole line while I was contracting whatever muscle. And what that does is, say you lunge to the right side, and I'm lunging here, and I do a bicep curl with both arms. The one I'm lunging towards will actually squeeze the bicep harder than it will on the other side that I'm not lunging towards, because it's pulling that whole line. So what that tells you is if you're in pain and you start doing more full body dynamic motions when you move or when you do therapy, you'll find that you end up getting, say, if you do some kind of upper body routine, but you're moving your whole body in length, you might pop something in your knee that frees up your lower back pain. So doing full body stuff, you'll see, we'll teach a lot of that stuff. You can go to the next one, babe. That's it? All right. So now I got to see how this really is going to work for me. Is that mama? Hi, mama. All right. You want to just, so initially I'm going to have Sarah go over here. I'm going to change the camera up. This is going to be very unconventional, of course, from school as it is, but it's exactly how I do it in real life. So I'm going to show you how I do a visual assessment. We're going to do a postural analysis. I'm going to go over everything with what you're seeing on Sarah. Each time I'm going to really do each 12-week block. I'm going to have a different model. So my wife gets to be the first one, get her whole body redone over these 12 weeks. Then I'll bring a new person in. I'm going to try to find a completely different, ectomorph versus, just different body types and different things like that. So where people can see, hey, if you're 100 pounds overweight, this is what it'll do. If you're, an athlete, this is what it'll do. So here we'll go do a postural analysis.
Perfect.
Okay, so you can see the sway of the back. You can see the curve right away. That's the first thing you want to look at. And as like anything I tell people, let me get this thing. There you go. Yeah, you move now. Okay, cool. So see the shoulders? Start at the top. You can see the head. It should be sitting on the shoulders, right center. You can already see the trap and everything right through there, how it rolls forward into the pecs. It's kind of hiding her chest the way the shoulder rolls forward. When you see my before and afters, like I'll open that up and the shoulder sits back, and you can see like the whole line right through here starts to fill up and picks up. Okay, so that's the first thing you see. So when the shoulders roll forward, what happens? Everything right through here in the shoulder blade, which is the rotator cuff, four muscles that sit on top of your shoulder blade.
Kyle,
Start to peek out. You can see
you were the last in the shower, right?
Shoulder blade kind of sticks out
Then you
there,
shut
like
the door,
rolls in,
and then you
and then it causes the
didn't
shoulder
leave
blade
the
to
fan on, so then it just mildewed. You didn't close the curtain.
This is going to cause your shoulder
To go close the curtain and turn it up.
The head is supposed to sit over the base of your shoulders like this. Yes, exactly. So see the spot that everybody talks about right here, that women and everybody especially complain about, where they say, I got this hump here, Josh. Can you fix this hump? I'm gaining weight, I'm getting older, and this big old hump. I got this hump in my back, right? It's not fat, okay? Your head goes forward. For every inch your head goes forward, it gains 10 pounds on the spine. So Sarah, probably 2 inches forward right now, if I had to guess. She's losing curvature in the neck. Shame on her husband for not fixing her. And the spine gets that little bulge. Why? Because this area now becomes the anchor. Instead of it being right over the shoulders here, this anchor is now hanging on here like this, right straight back to that ball at the base of your cervical spine, okay? Once you see the shoulders, you're going to see it on almost every human being. I hope you guys know I'm ruining you now, because it's like learning a new language. You're going to walk into public and you're going to go, oh my gosh, her shoulders, they're bad. So you see the sway here, and that sway, what I mean is that curve right through there. So the shoulders roll forward, it pulls it there, and as the shoulders roll forward, okay, we're putting more pressure on the front side of our body. So everything with the shoulders forward is going to be putting more pressure on the front of our bodies, we see here, which is going to cause her pelvis, which is right through here, to kick up. You can see, it looks like her butt kind of points up. That's how you can tell. Don't be looking at everybody's butt now, but when the glutes point more up, then you see this curve, okay? It's almost like her waistline right there. You see it? It's almost like that line right there is instead of her pelvis being flat, it's curved like this. My fuzzy fingers. So I'll have to figure out how to do that better.
I'm gonna turn around.
So now we can, and well, face there, put your hands up. So you can see as the pelvis shifts, see how the back of the hamstrings looks a little more flat. The front of the quads looks really round. Right through here looks really round, okay? Now everybody's like, oh, I'm quad dominant, because an anterior pelvic tilt, Dave, stick your butt out. That's anterior, now tuck it. That's posterior. Now just neutralize it. That's neutral, okay? See how it straightens out that belt line? So when she pulls her belt line, so pull it like more like posterior, Dave, like up, see that? It's like, see how the quads go in? And the hamstrings start to show themselves. So when you're quad dominant, your quads aren't that much bigger. Your hamstring is pushing through the leg, and it's causing you to view both your hamstring and your quad mass kind of like sticking out here. You know, that's what it's coming from. So don't think that my before and afters, I'm really recreating like more hamstring tissue. It's just moving this back and causing the hamstring to show more because the quad's not pulling itself forward. Okay, then. So face the wall. You see the same thing here.
We lost audio, Josh. Or I mean video.
I want to post the before and after for you guys to see it at the end. But right through there, can you guys hear me okay?
We lost video.
Can somebody nod and tell me you can hear me okay? You can't hear me?
You can't see.
Video's gone.
Yeah.
Say something. Say anything.
Can you hear us?
But we could still hear you.
Nobody can hear us? No? Did you just do all that without? Oh, what happened? Why does it start video off? Oh, it's just.
Perfect. There you go. Back on.
I don't know. We need to unmute your mom. That's why I wanted to do this dry run. So you guys didn't see that at all, or did you not hear anything, or can you hear me now? Oh,
I didn't see like half of it.
We missed the end.
Yeah, very little. So
We
I need
saw
to
the
move
curve
the
of the
mic.
back.
Yeah, from like the pelvic.
All right, I'll do it again. I don't care. Go through there. All right. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you for being patient. This is not going to be this way after this time, I promise. Oh, man. Okay. So I do not mind repeating myself. I like talking. So, you ready? Is everything good? Is it showing anything? Yeah. Okay. So here we can see right through here, basically, we got the tech neck. So her head is forward. And because her head is forward, you know, we can see that the shoulders are coming forward with it. Okay. That means we got chest tension right through here. The pec muscles are tight, causing the shoulder to roll forward. And then we can see right through here that the back muscles are weak and causing the shoulder blade to wing out. So that's what winging is. So that the head should sit right over this line like that, exactly. But when it doesn't, for every inch that the head goes forward, it gains 10 pounds on the spine. And you can see up through here on the back of her neck right through there, it starts to bulge. Let your head hang down a little bit, babe. See that roundness right through there? That shouldn't be there even with her head down. So pull your chin back while your head's down. Can you do that? See that? See how it flattens out? It starts to contract and tightens right through up. So that's the difference right through there. So I guess there's positives to redoing it. So first thing you want to see is you want to see how far the head is. The head's coming forward. Then we're going to work on the chest and loosen the shoulders, drop them back. It's going to give more length to this region right through here. And you can see, because we need to get rid of that big curve of the back right through here. This is lordosis. And if she kept going and her shoulders rolled more, then it would cause the big curve right through here, which would be kyphosis. So unfortunately, she doesn't have that right now. Again, shame on her husband for not fixing her. You can see down through here, when you look at the glutes, you can always tell, is there a curve of the back? You know, most people, if they have glutes, then they don't have an anterior pelvic tilt. And I was just explaining that to you. So when you see the curve of the lower back, then we know we have an anterior pelvic tilt. And when you have an anterior pelvic tilt, the back of the hamstrings right through here, you can see out they're flat, and we've got the quad dominance right through here, which just means that the tissue from the hamstring, because of the upward pull on the pelvis, is now coming through the leg. So this is pushing through the leg right through there, causing your quad to look bigger, but in reality, it's just the hamstring and quad tissues kind of combined. Because that's why you can see where did the hamstring bump go? It doesn't just disappear. It's just not aligned and in the proper place. All right, face the wall, babe. Ooh, I don't know how photographers do this, man. This is amazing now. Quite heavy. All right, you can see, so in Sarah, you can see her left shoulder is slightly higher. See how the right shoulder is dipped down? And because of that, you can see like the right shoulder is kind of pushed out and looks a little thinner. You know, this one looks like it's more popped out and coming at us. You can see that. Let me get a little closer for you guys. Yeah, perfect. There we go. And then back, we see the big sway here, and it causes these pockets. So ladies, okay, if you feel like you got a collection right through here of fat, okay, she's too lean to have an excess pocket of fat right here, okay? So if you think you are and you know you don't have 50, 60 pounds to lose, it's highly unlikely that you have a pocket of fat there. It just means that with the shoulders, when they come back towards you, this is all gonna drop. And when it drops, the abdomen's actually gonna get longer. And when it does, what do? You have more space to put things into. So don't think that these areas, most pockets like on the back of the arms, right through here, down through here, most of those areas, they come from really, really tight muscles. So when a tight muscle happens, it goes from being nice and pushed out to sinking into the surface, and therefore tissue and cellulite and things like that start to form and collect on top of it. When you open the muscles in that region, they spread out equally and they fill with blood, and therefore they push and stretch the skin out. Cellulite disappears right in front of your face, and some of the problem areas now just disappear. Okay, so yeah, face me. I'm gonna have to get something in the future because the way it looks on here. Oh, it looks way better. Well, I guess it should on a big TV versus my camera screen, right? So you can see, can't really see a whole lot with this one. So we'll have to, this isn't really going to be an upper body one. So the main thing that the lower body one, sorry guys. So you could just, right through here, just make a mental note. So you can see on the collarbone here, how we were talking about that left shift. So left side higher, right side down. Left side looks way more pronounced, sticking out. Right side doesn't. So this all comes from when the pelvis shifts, it causes the torso to start twisting. So then you'll get one side of the bone structure, hence the right collarbone there, and the left one is not, because the left one is, or right one is not, sorry. The right one back here, I should just point, is twisted back, and this one is coming towards us. That's why you see that exactly. So once we open that up, let's get right to it. I've been yapping too much, so I'm gonna.
If I look at my shirt, you'll see the rib cages are twisted too.
You can see it right there the way you just did that. If you pull that tight, yeah, you can see how it's pushed out more on the right there on the left side, and then it's dipped in more on this side over here. So when your butt goes out, so turn sideways, baby. So women, when you're talking about the lower pooch in here, okay, push your butt out, babe, and watch. See how it does that, and relax your stomach, babe. And now push it. So there you go. That's how real people would do it. If they were completely relaxed, and then they complain about the pooch. So they complain down here, it's pushed out, but watch, pull your butt down. See how it flattens out? So once we fix the pelvis, this pooch goes away. The rib cage can now go in instead of being sticking out like this. And then this curve will go away. Push it back, babe. Drive your rib cage through the back. See that? See how the curve starts straightening out? So this is what we need to do, is just go into these things and limit the amount of tension, and the overall alignment will start to just go boom, just like the before and afters. So I'm going to take a picture of her now so you guys can actually see and view after this and make your own. I want you guys to become, experts as I break my camera. Get it, babe. Thought I had that on there. Here, just give it to me. It's cool. That thing's like indestructible. Fortunately, I didn't drop my camera, guys. Yeah. 1 second for technical difficulties. Oh, it goes that way. That's why genius. I don't know. Maybe I don't. I think I do with doing the actual work though. Sorry guys, 1 sec. It might be good that, oh, get that under there, man. It might be good that we're just, we can edit the videos and take all this stuff out. So when I put up the finished one, you guys can watch that'd be a lot of editing though. But we'll have this written down by Sunday. Is it working? Everything good? All right. See if that's good enough for you guys. You guys see that? Good, good, good. This is on the saved on the computer. How much time are we at? Does it tell us?
On my stomach or back?
The screen getting on. You do something with it. Unplug it. Yeah. All right, so here you can see even like her shoulder doesn't want to sit. See, it's like I can stick my hand between it, no problem. It should be. And you can always rotate the arm out. See how it goes down? So that shows you how much it's twisted like this and it wants to pick up. And every time I do this, it goes plunk on her. So when you're doing this, it's real simple. You can just test the range of motion. You can see how the elbow bends? It doesn't want to stay. It doesn't want to go nice and straight. It picks up off the ground. So you know that we got a lot of tension running right through this whole region, right through the tricep and then this insertion. Because you see how it's picked up and bowed right here, or the rotator cuff, and then all inside of the subscap right through here. Yeah, feels great. Yep. So when you loosen all through everything through here, basically just all you're doing when you put pressure from these is, everybody tries to just grind through tissue. It doesn't make any sense when you do that because there's muscles and joints, but the nervous system controls both of those. And you don't try and just rake over the sensories. You want to stimulate with pressure, then you're going to push it into whatever stretch you're going to do. So when I do the chest, typically you're pulling these muscles down and you can feel them because the fiber is running this way. So pulling them down, and then you'll feel where the pec muscles insert all through here. You can take these and push them out and see how. So when you're looking at any muscle, it doesn't matter. Bicep, 2 joints, right? Bicep, okay? So in the bicep, you can feel on your own arm, you can take it right now, and you can dig and you can feel the lines. So everything is like cords. They run like this, okay? And you can feel in between all of those cords. So every one of those cords is a potential, it's potential progress. So if you're a power lifter, if you're a bodybuilder, if you're an athlete, whatever you are, if you have tension here that is hard, then you know that is progress from your workouts trapped right there. So anywhere you can feel, and it shouldn't be hard like that. That's the purpose of ligaments and tendons, is to make everything a floating matrix. So simply on here, watch. So we'll just start with this. You can take your own arm, or you can take this and push it back. And see, it's like kneading dough. You can almost, let me see if I can get in a little bit better on this. So you see that? See how you can see it push over. So you don't want to go over like that, okay? on anything you do. You're taking it and you're just pushing it. And then I use a third form of stimulation. So you have pressure, you have the stretch. I'm pushing it into a stretch. And then you just get it, hold it there, and wiggle it. Watch. And you'll feel the cells contract and relax. They start squeezing and relaxing constantly. Same thing that happens when you use vibration. So here, when I would do the chest, I literally get anybody, literally, here I'm going to say literally 50 times, like my nephew. Put the arm up here. Most people can't externally rotate like this. Just rest the arm here. When I actually work on clients, let me see if I can fit. I sit. I work on a mat because the tables just ruined me. They would just wreck my neck, the pressure across it. But plus, in Las Vegas, I never wanted to be a massage therapist because of it's the land of prostitution, and there's a lot of things with stuff that go along with that. So I tried to go the different route. But anyways, with here, external rotation is going to be the hardest thing to get. So this is going to be the thing that we're going to work on. You're going to see today. I'm going to open this up real quick. It doesn't really take very long. And then I'm going to show you how to reach up under here from the other side and get into the rotator cuff while she's on the ground. So you can use her actual body weight to save your own hands when you're doing this. And then when we do the self-therapy one, I'll show you guys how to foam roll this and stretch this and open it up. I always like to just add movement and take the body anywhere through this. So if you're like doing this on a friend, or if you're doing this on yourself, you just apply the pressure right through here. Is just hard on her. So I'm just getting above it where it feels like a layer, like it feels like this. You can even go lightly over this. And if you're doing this on a woman, obviously just get above the breast tissue and pull down into it. And then you just lightly rub until you feel that protruding hard spot, whatever's hard. You want to go for something that's hard. And then I'm grabbing and it feels just like a cord, like I'm on a string here, and I'm just pulling it to where it stretches down. And then I just hold that pressure and just push into it off and on, and it walks it free. And the other thing is with this muscle, I push it out, and you can feel ways you can go over whatever feels like it's hard. It'll have like a lip, and you kind of want to go over that and get right on it. But the key is like most people, they'll go like with Sarah, like when she was learning how to do it, is like she'll press on something, and then when she presses on it and then she goes to move, she lifts up instead of keeping the pressure and like pulling it into a stretch. Because remember, like when you're pushing on anything here, all I'm doing is taking this tissue and just stretching it. But most people in massage, they just keep stroking things, and you have to wait. The sensories are built up off the nervous system, and the nervous system just records what you're repeating. So if you've trained this muscle to last a long time in workouts or to do anything, or it sits and does stuff for a long period of time, you can expect that it's going to take sometimes minutes with the roller or with your pressure or whatever you're doing with your hand to get it to free up. And so when I'm pressing on this, I literally just add some pressure, and there you go, literally, yeah, and press down and then wiggle it around, and you'll feel it start to move. And use your elbow. Think of a workout. Stop using your pressure with your hand. So you push with your hand, lock it in, and then pull with your elbow, and use your elbow to move your hand around. But don't let your hand lift up. Don't let the pressure release. And you'll feel it unwind. And even still, when you get on spots like this, you can just bounce on them and just wiggle and bounce, and it'll start to unwind itself. So you think about it. I've had fibromyalgia clients, and you can start to see here. I don't know if you guys can really notice, but the neck tissue on this side is getting fuller. Let's see with the check here.
Wow.
So I put it in that same position. I want to put it where it's messed up. So I mean where the range is messed up, so it actually can visually show you guys an improvement, because I can put it here and full it, you know what I mean? But putting it there, it is coming down, but watch, like, so when I go in there, then I move it, and the movement is the first thing you do. Like, where do I feel this? When I feel it in hers, the movement I'm feeling is limited here. So when you move your arm around, you should feel a part of it. Like if you take your one arm and pick the other arm up like it's dead, the one part of your arm should feel heavier than the other. Or maybe your arm feels really good and not that heavy, and you would find that the tension feels like the weight is up in the shoulder. So where you move it, there should be something that indicates, and in hers, all right through here is preventing her elbow.
That's my broken elbow.
She broke her elbow too with this one. But basically these spot right here, I just lean into it. And so these cords running through this. So I'm just going to drive just the outside of my hand like a saw. Just going to lean some pressure on it with my body weight. And I'm going to pull my elbow down. You'll watch my hand start to come down. So all I'm doing is holding the pressure so it grabs those cords, and then I'm pulling them, and I'm not letting my pressure come up to where they can slide out from under my hand. And you can do this on anything. This is literally the first thing I did in all of my career that let me know you could change the visual. I was digging in my forearm, and I just pulled it, and it released, and I was shocked. That was it. And here we are today, 10 years later. I ran out and started telling Sarah, like, oh my gosh, look, I can change your muscle right now. And she was like, no, you can't. And then I did it, and she was pretty impressed. And after that, we're off to the races. So now that was just one I just did just to show. Let's see. This is starting to change up through here. So that's what I need to get is on the back side. So we'll do here and pull it down. Yeah, that one always feels good. So now I'm coming from the bicep. You can take a fist, you can take whatever, and just pulling down. Because the main parts that you want to work at are like origin and insertion, like right by the joints. You want to find those spots and release them. Because when you get into the middle of the muscle bellies, like in the middle here, they're a lot more tender. And you're not going to find the hard spots that you want. There goes that. So I pull it, and you'll feel it just start to melt and move. And don't think that right when you feel that, that's it. That's the problem with therapy today. They'll feel one spot move, and then they're up next region, and you might melt this spot like I am now 5, 6, 7 times before this cord finally feels like it lets go. It's getting deeper and deeper into the surface as I release this. But the key also, guys, is like when you're putting pressure on it, the hardest part about my job, what's so mentally draining, is every day I just have to think about the spot the whole time I'm feeling that. The whole time I stretch something or foam roll or anything, you have to focus on the exact spot that you feel. And basically when I'm pressing here with my hand, this spot that I'm touching with that's contacting the hardest point, everything here and everything here, I ignore it. I shut that part of my brain off. All I'm doing is feeling this spot right here. And that's what I communicate to my elbow to pull and keep locked in. So same thing when you foam roll, you're grabbing a spot and you're pushing it one direction or another. You're just finding out which way is going to stimulate it to start melting. So when you put pressure on anything, whether it's a foam roller, your hand, whatever it is, you just let it sink for a second and then find the direction that it's going to stimulate the stretch to release it. Because you might think that, oh, I'm on my bicep, but you got the brachii type into it. So it's not really the layer you think you're on. It's one that's beneath it. So moving and shifting sometimes will just pull one muscle off another. So let's check it out again. That's getting better, huh? Mm-hmm. See, it's not as deep here. And it actually looks a lot more muscular here. It doesn't look like so popped up and like this. It's all sees right through here. So let's go. So this is a little different. Right when you feel this, right on the outside, you start getting into the flexors and extensors and everything of the forearms. By the elbow, this feels just like a brick. I don't know if any of you can grab your elbow right now and feel a part that just feels like where the muscles go in. It just feels like bony, hard stuff. So you can just take this. It's really going to make her make nice faces for you guys. But find the hard part, literally the hardest thing you can. And you can even do this, or you can just take your one hand and shake the other hand. And so at first, whenever you're doing this work, watch, this fly is going to bug me the whole time. You press in, do a good squeeze into it, and then back off just a little bit, and you'll feel it start to gain that melting feeling. So I'm just moving it around, doing like different things to get it to. All right. So things are just looking smoother, longer. This doesn't look as pronounced right through here. That actually looks straighter. That didn't really change a whole lot because this just got better and it's how straight it is. You can still see the flexion here. This needs to move down. See how it looks like our tricep is kind of sucked up here? Instead of being all smooth down, it's causing this little patch. You can see it's a little distortion right here. So when you take you'll feel on every human being, when you put your arm up, there's a ball right here. And if you don't have it, it's because you just fixed it. So anybody who trains, works out, or does anything, this spot is going to be very pronounced on you. And you can just take it and you can lay your arm just like this on the side, laying on your side with the foam roller in there, or you can lift your arm up with your arm behind your head like this. Take your other finger and put it in here if that's what you're doing watching this. I'll go over here so you guys can see. But here, all I'm doing is putting pressure. You can do it with anything. I'm just simulating. And you feel the shoulder blade is right here. So you get above that and you want to pull this down. Feel like you're grabbing your shoulder blade up under here and pull it down. And just hold it there. It's a lot easier to do when you're on the roller and stuff if you're doing this for yourself. But when you're doing it to somebody else, you can just take it. If you need more pressure, that's why I like using the mat, because I can just take this, bring my knee into it. And you're really taking the shoulder blade here and pushing it back into scaption. Because right now she's super protracted. Protracted means the shoulders are coming together like this. The pec muscles are getting too tight, so the two joints that they're joined to, boom, are coming together. And here, pulling this down, and another release. I just wiggle on it and just keep like letting it melt. You do it over and over and over, but this is not like a massaging motion. This is more of a like hard pressure stretch, and just I'm walking the fibers apart with some stimulation. Movement is hydration. So the fascia is a hydraulic pump for water. So movement is the best therapy there is. There's, you know, my work, I can glorify it. Any tissue therapy, they can glorify it. Movement is the biggest therapy there is. You see that? It's like so much better with this. This, see how you see the definition now? Start to see shape come into the muscles through here now, instead of it being just popped out and bulged. She's actually got some shape to it now. The armpit and everything through here is looking more shapely. And then you can get into here. These are real. When you talk about soft tissue, this is like the definition of it. So here, I just feel a hard part up under here. And for women, this is key to keeping for anti-aging the breasts. This whole ridge, right through here, up through the sternum, you'll feel a hard line that feels almost like your bra that goes up under it. For Sarah's, I've done a lot of work to her, so fortunately hers isn't too bad up under here. Well, you mostly wear sports bras, so that's why too. So, right? Yeah. But if you're somebody who wears like the old wire bras or anything that you wore like for many years and stuff like that, it will put a seam right here, because anywhere that the fascia feels pressure, it's going to harden. But with this, it's the same thing you do with the roller. You get up under the chest. It doesn't matter if you're a guy and trying to make your pecs look bigger, you're trying to like make them grow. You got to get the lat, serratus, and everything away from each other. So I'm just pulling this, and you do the same thing with the roller if you're doing it more or less. All I'm doing is getting everything away so the shoulder can fall back. Press it this way and bounce. Perfect. Now it's really getting light. You can, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to do an actual interpretation so they can see, but this is getting to her. Like I can press this. I can press this down. Yeah, you see the line now. Now her armpit kind of looks buff. And then up under here is a big one. Okay, so this is what I'm going to get into next week. I want to put a whole segment for this, is how to get the rib cage to come together. So that's what I'm going to be doing next week when we go down in through here. Is going to be how do we open all this. And the rib cage, instead of it looking like, I call it enveloping, you know, it's like, boop, it's popped open, tacoing, whatever you want to call it. But the back of it, the other piece I'm not showing is here. This curve comes because these are pulled back like this. So the rib cage back here, we need to next week open it to bring it here. This will happen. These will come together. The separation between the breast tissue and the abdomen will come. And guess what? That's all the before and afters I post when they're six pack or whatever. Their abs just look way longer, way more defined, and you don't see the rib cage. You see this nice abdomen that's got the six pack on top of it, even if it's defined or not defined. So for here, I'm gonna go to the next part. Let me see how I can get myself in here. Yeah, scoot over just a tad bit. So when I do this, I'll show you how I do it real quick. I lay so I can get my arm up under, okay? Now I'll get out of the way because I can do this pretty much any which way I need to. So my hands I'm basically just grabbing the whole shoulder blade right through here, okay? You can do this against the wall too. Reach your arm up. You can put the ball behind you and just do these same motions. So I drop this back, and I'm just gonna grab here, and you can just use the pressure of your arm against here to lift up. This one definitely takes a lot of strength for me. And then rotate it in, and this is where you'll feel right down here in the whole side of the shoulder blade. You're kind of getting that shoulder blade. You rotate it in, you'll feel it, and you pull it in this way towards the middle of the body. So if you're a therapist or anybody doing this, then that's what you would want to do here. You want to hook up under, you're right in that shoulder blade like this, and pull it this direction towards the middle of the spine. So same thing, basically. Next week, we could get some better lights in here. Zoom. Yeah, let's see. Let's get the light facing on her. So rotate forward, reach under. You can do it just like so. And all I'm doing here is finding hard spots. So anybody can sit here and do this. You just reach your hand under, pull it back, and all you're doing is lifting, finding hard spots, and you take them from here and you kind of pull them this way. So with my hand here, I'm pulling it this way now, or I'm pulling it. So you're basically pulling your hand in or you're pushing it out. So you want to take these tissues and find whichever way these cords want to go right through here. And when you're doing it on a foam roller, it's no different. You reach up under here and you like roll it. That's why I tell people to use the roller and put it here and kind of come across here and come across here. All you're doing is cutting the halo away from the shoulder, the halo of the arm. You're cutting it away from the shoulder. So you can see like more and more, like it kind of looks like her arm is shoved into the shoulder here, right in this section. And when I get up here, you can even grab on the top and you'll feel a nice knot right where your delts meet the arm. When it starts to go down, you feel this ball right in here. When you take that ball and just rotate through it, nice and gentle. Maybe I can hide her face so she doesn't make faces right there. I'll hide her face. But pull it back typically is going to be the one you feel it on the most. So you could do this like against the wall and reach over your arm and just kind of dig in there. If you have a Theragun or whatever, you could do this up against the wall and then go here. Same spot. Got my thumb right here. Digging this guy right here in that ball. You feel right where the delts meet the arm. There we go. That one took a little bit longer to release. See that? Flop. And now it goes forward like pretty effortlessly. Falls back real good. That's when you know you got real freedom in the rotator cuff and the pecs aren't fighting it. If this arm will just drop like that, that's a really good thing. And it's also going to start limiting how much if this is going like this, watch, see, it starts to like, that was picking up on there. I didn't show that so much so, but her back was really up off the ground a lot more now. So the more you loosen this, look, I mean, the arm, I can pull it nice and straight now. And you can actually see more definition, more things firing through here. You can lay it down and it's just, naturally it lays a lot straighter than it was. Before it was wanting to kick out here. You know, you guys will feel all this when you do it on yourself. Right through here now feels like the one part that is preventing it. But see, even this would have felt like I would have broke her arm before. If I had done this, like put my body weight on me, I'm putting a good amount of weight on this. And before, when it was up here, it would have immediately made her wince in pain. So that's why I like go around things. If you can't get something to go play with 5 other things and come back to that area and see. Because a lot of times, same thing when you're foam rolling or you're stretching, you should not stretch or foam roll tender areas. You want to find the hardest area you can, because the hard area is what's causing the area next to it to be tender. It's pulling on it. So you'll release a hard spot. A lot of times you'll release both spots. So right through here, just taking this and just allowing this elbow just right around here. Some more just to get in here. And anything you guys see on here, I mean, remember, there's not one thing that I do on the body that I didn't first design on a foam roller. I've got addicted to foam rolling myself, and everything I did, I just started recreating in like a hand version or a knee version. So you can see here, boom. I'm taking this and I'm rolling my hand like this, but I'm pressing and I'm more like dragging it back, trying not to like go across the skin so she wouldn't want to come back for another session. But I never like that stuff. I don't really feel like it's the most effective. If you're causing the skin to get really irritated when you work it, then you're in that area too long, and the technique you're using is not effective, because that's what's always happened to me thousands of times over my career. I noticed like, oh man, like why am I not getting this? And I was either talking too much or I was doing whatever I was doing. So this is the last thing I like to do up through here. I'm pulling this, almost like dragging that like that. So pull it like that. That's all you really need to do. And then hold it forward. Don't let the part on your palm, my palm back here. I'm keeping that pressure. I am gripping with the front of my fingers here, but I'm not trying to focus on those. I'm focusing on the pressure in my palm, holding this back. You could do this on any friend, any family member, and just pulling this like this is going to cause these to want to fight you this way. And then when me pulling them back, you can just wait with almost no strength. You know, somebody who's 80 years old could do this to somebody, and it wouldn't even really be that challenging. That might make their hand burned after a little bit, but so I'm just moving up the arm a little bit. There we go. Now you can see it better. And so I'm feeling these, and then like I kind of lift and then press again, and then lift and then press again. You should try this technique when you're using it on a foam roller too. Put that pressure back off, put that pressure back off. Yeah, see, that just melted a lot. Like now I can actually get this to torque. How you doing over there? Breathing hard? So pulling it back, getting closer up here. This is the area that I was talking about where I said it was looked like the arm was kind of running into the shoulder. And when I'm done here, you'll see how much separation it gains here. And this is a really good one too, especially for anybody lifting. It's going to be helping you to separate here. It's going to give you more length to your arm, which is going to allow you, especially on lower body lifts, it allows you to lift a lot heavier because your arms won't cause your thoracic spine to pull out of alignment. It'll curve immediately if your arms are too shortened, and then your lower body immediately will want to go anterior, and you start going into the quads and not into your glutes and hammies. All right. So now I got it to go up high. It's not, see that? Look, it's almost down to the ground. So now I can, so as you do that, you basically now the new forward, the new internal rotation is where you start. So now I go a little bit back off, and then now that's where I push forward. And then just walk it around. You'll see my backhand that's putting the pressure. You'll see it just falling back. It's just going. That's the tissue melting. And then I'm pulling it towards her chest. Give it a little shake. Squeeze. Let it fall back. And there's the knot. So as I went back, it basically did what I was saying earlier. It exposed a whole nother trigger point up under here. So it's not always the internal. It's not always the external. I could have her arm out and twisted like this, and it just made that knot stand out a lot more. There we go. Super flop. Look at that. Almost can't see her hand now. So just so you guys know, it's not like no illusion. I mean, that is real. And just remember, range of motion is not flexibility, okay? Flexibility means you are completely strong and stable throughout your entire range of motion. Just because I could pick my arm up over my head, just because she could do this before, you know what I mean? Like I could make her internally rotate, but her entire shoulder would pick up off the ground. Remember? Look at that. It doesn't bear, I have to go all the way down to get her shoulder to lift now. Almost nothing. And if you do that right now, sitting in your chair or whatever you're doing right now, I guarantee your whole, even myself, my whole chest is just going to want to just at the top grab. That's pretty good, Mom. You know, but just a little bit, you'll notice the elbow, like in Sarah's elbow, doesn't really change position. And that's for me, when I do it, I can't show you right now, but when I do it, my elbow all through the back of the tricep here just lights up. So that's what's saying. It's like, you know, I can pick my arm up over my head, no problem, but I'm not flexible by any means in that because I haven't completed, you know, the balance between stability and strength. So look at that. I mean, remember, like I was having to like shove her arm down. How like this was sitting up. It's still kind of up, but now I'm just going to take this. Let's see. Where does it want to stand up? Yeah. Hold it there, Ben. I'm just grabbing, right? If you take your fist and just tap right through here on the AC joint, you'll feel this real big hard brick there. So if you wanted to like lean down on a wall and put a rag between your shoulder and the wall right through here so the wall won't just blunger your shoulder, you know, on the bone, and then just press the same way I am, you can drive this down I mean, it takes headaches away and make it so your head can turn. If it won't turn, lots of different things that plague people. Just this right here, putting a little pressure on the AC joint. And what happens is the supraspinatus, the rotator cuff muscle, sucks up over into this from the back. It comes up over as the shoulders roll forward. It gets caught up under this AC joint. And a lot of times that's why we get AC joint separations. They get hooked to chromiums. The supraspinatus, that's why it's the #1 tear in the world, because supraspinatus, it gets caught up in there. Everybody's shoulders roll forward nowadays to some degree. Even if your shoulders sit back, most people still have some kind of compacted area through the chest, all up through here. All right. Perfect. Now you can just see here, just sitting here. Let's go here, see if this helps. Good. They're open. It's just getting darker there on that side. So see, it's not really got a whole lot of play there. It's pretty. My hand is immediately touching her. I barely go in. So you got external rotation is perfect. Internal rotation, I'm not even holding that there. Look, it just falls and it sits and it barely picks up. This would be like in the top 5 percentile of the world for rotation, as far as what I see. And there's still a lot we can do, which we'll further do in the back. So here, I mean, from what I see in her whole pec versus this side is definitely down and it's like hard through here. This side is full and fleshy up through here. I'm obviously not going to do both sides filming right here. I'm going to do the back. So we're going to turn her over and I'm going to show you how I basically do the back. You're okay, Bobby. All right, all we need to do the back and finish up.
Do you want me to face this way? See. I'm not too tall. Our little guy is hanging out by himself in there. He's doing a good job though. Joshua, you want to come say hi? Oh. It's okay. Aren't you good?
Little breather. All right. So.
You want me to lay this way? Right. So you're gonna do this side.
Yeah. So let me just. All right, so I just did the video of this the other day. I don't know if you guys got to see that one yet, but let's go this way so you guys can see. So on this one, basically, you can just feel around. And we're going to go through more of this, which we're going to kind of tie into. But I just want to focus on how to help get the external rotation, get the shoulder to drop back, which really is basically all through this junction right here. You can do a quick test. This tells you Sarah's actually got pretty good range. So she can, here's one test, how far you can pull it back and up, right? How high? This is pretty close to max. And that's because we just did a great job getting everything out of here. She's got a little bit of tension right here. You can pull up and kind of squeeze on the bicep. If you go put your arm up, like if you're sitting on a couch, you put your arm up like this on the top of the couch, you can simulate this. And then you can grab into your bicep and stuff like that and find whatever cord you feel, and releasing that will make a big difference on opening this. Okay, so but look at this. See this? I can't pull it across. So her rotation and everything coming from this region, and everything right in here, this will not allow her to gate over. So that's the two things you want to check. How high can you go, and how far can you get your arm behind your back when you have it up? So all I'm going to do here is just basically get right up in here, pull this up, and I'm pressing this basically across the body. And you can get into the rotator cuff this way where I sit a lot of times. I would basically be sitting here and pushing this way. All I'm doing is getting the shoulder blade, which is falling out like this, and I'm pulling it back and up like that. So whatever feels the hardest, remember, on anything I tell you, it's always kind of seek and destroy whatever's the hardest. Push this and just hold it and just balance on it. And as it moves, I just follow that hard spot. The volume still good? Good, good. My son said, yep. All right. And going up through here, right in this pocket, right? It's called the spine of the scapula, the very top of it. Extremely tight. So the thing is too, though, there's two things you look for. Is it tight is one thing, but how fast does it respond? That's the key. So if an area of your body is really lackadaisical, like if you're working on it on the foam roller and you feel like you have effective progress on every other part of your body and this part takes forever to respond, then you know that that's an area of concern. That's a true weakness neurologically that you should focus on making better.
When you do that, I feel it in my head.
You feel it in your head?
Mm.
It's still connected. Gotta press harder. See if I can shove her head off. Hold on, guys. So it's getting softer through here, so we can check here. Good. And look at that. See, it's definitely already coming to where I can pull it across. And we'll see. I'm doing it kind of hard, and we're gonna see how much this picks her body up or doesn't pick her body up. So you can see it's all the way down to here. It's grabbing. See that? The whole side is picking up. So we want to eliminate it to where we're just getting the arm coming across. So we can do that a little bit by connecting right here where my fingers are, and I'm taking this and grabbing it and pulling it whatever way you can. It doesn't matter what cord you guys are working on your body. You're going to notice that in these videos that part will get really redundant or just really repetitive. Sorry, not redundant, but just constantly pulling on the cords. But that's really the story of my life and my work. It's just finding the hard spots, getting into the cords, and really people pay me because I can press harder and longer than like themselves or a foam roller or whatever. But it's not really rocket science once you figure out each region of the body and like what it feels like to pull this. So it's coming here, going across, pull these out. Sometimes you just shake on some hard tissues and it just melts like that. Give it some hydration. You got up, even better, look at that. Like she almost got her hand out of the screen and it comes across. Look, woo, that's, wow, a lot better. Does that feel better, babe?
Mm-hmm.
And see how it's a little less. You can see the body, but it's not picking her body like right up off the ground. I really have to come across hard to get it to come up. Then we can go right through here on the shoulder blade. So from this point forward, you would want to point on the spine. So if you're pressing around the spine here, which I'll get this to be a little better in the future. Once I get the lighting and stuff up here. Let's see. There we go. So I press this towards you guys. So in the shoulder blade, and if you lean against the wall, you can feel this and try and hook the corner of the wall like in between your spine and your shoulder blade and pull the shoulder blade out towards your arm without letting it slip off of the wall, if that makes sense. But that's how I pretty much fix my shoulders, by hitting the chest where I was showing you hitting on Sarah, and hitting the back on the corner of any wall. My walls fortunately are round, so if you have the round ones, it's really easy. But here I'm just pushing this out, and then we'll be done for today. So we're going to see with the last test of range of motion. We're going to do a before and after. I'll take a picture with just her one side, so that'll give you guys This is going to be cool because I'm going to do a lot of different things I wouldn't normally do because it's more or less like a case study. And then after I'm done, I'm going to have to fix her other side, keep up with that because I would never not do that, obviously. But you'll get to see different things like me doing one side and not the other and stuff like that. So you can really get an idea of like seeing these lines. And it becomes very, very easy to understand what you're looking at. And once you do, then you can assess yourself, anybody else, you know, and it's really cool. Even if you don't plan on cranking on people and being a body worker, you know, you can still go and make a proper assessment on a family member, save them some, you know, surgery or something, or just save them from freaking out, give them some peace of mind. A lot of times when I talk to people I know in passing, I'm not going to have a chance to work on them because I'm at, you know, some public place or whatever. And I'll just try and give them, you know, some seed of information so that way they don't freak out or think what they have is something to really be fearful of. So now I just take my fingers and get in here and just find this and pull it in. So I'm pulling this way. But you can dig your fingers in this like anywhere and you can find whatever chord, whichever way, it doesn't matter. And I'm not pressing on her, like that would really hurt. So just pull in like this. I'm finding some chords, whatever way I feel like my fingers can grab. And I'm pressing into them and grabbing. So I'm pulling up towards the rear delt. But again, you can get a foam roller in here with your arm up like this. You get the roller right through here. Push this stuff down. Push this stuff up, down through, or I mean, push up through the arm. And stretch these two out from here. Get as much as you can. Like any hard stuff, just keep working it, pressing as hard as you can and getting it to stretch before it goes up over that bump that you're working. So here I would actually, if I was doing this myself, I would be getting into here. So I'll do a little bit of that like this, but just so she feels better because I would not do that. But this is what we're going to go over next week. We're going to show how to hit through this whole region. I'm going to show you how to like do it with the oil. Obviously on Sunday, so Sunday morning, we're going to do the foam rolling version, the Theragun, the stretching version, all the self-maintenance version of what we went over today. One last release. So wow, out of the screen. Pretty dope. Look at that. Goes all the way out. And barely, like I could pick her whole arm, like she's touching my face over here. So it's kind of like in the midline of her body where her arm's coming to, whereas before I was pretty much on the side, like where this was parallel to. So I'll find some better ways to like actually show that to you guys. Go ahead, stand up. Let me take a quick picture of her. I will post these pictures for everybody, so be looking out for those. I'll post them on my Instagram. What?
That's the camera.
Does it feel like it looks?
Oh my gosh, I feel so lopsided right now. I was trying to say
Come
that.
on, they go to climb.
Yeah.
Face the wall.
Can we get a better angle, Josh?
If you like this.
Mm-hmm. Help me out with the mic, babe. All right, good. So face me, babe. Come closer. So you can see.
Thank you.
Besides the one that we did, you can see even like the top of the chest. You can see how round it is. First through here. So that helps with women, like keeping the chest up. If these pec muscles through here and everything atrophy, your boob's going to fall for sure. And you're going to get this big compression here. And you can see how full the outside of it is. That's how you can see how much breast tissue we freed up. That's going to help with breathing, diaphragm, everything. But if the whole area of the boob is falling, that means your shoulder's going to fall with it. This part right here is going to be coming forward. So ladies, something to look for. You can see it. Yeah, it's super full. Her neck, you can see everything is pushed off through here. It's off, and you can see how this whole thing through the collarbone, everything is just completely relaxed. It already was, but now you can see this is calmed down a little bit as far as how it doesn't look so bony. It's not as pronounced. It just looks more fleshy, but it still sticks out a lot more than this side over here, where now you can see that is really what you want to be looking for. The shoulders down and out. This one's up high and pulled forward. Look at the distortion in the breast tissue going into the arm and everything through here. And then you can see this arm just looks long and down. See it? See how far back? Turn to your side, babe.
Look at my elbows too.
Turn.
Nope, too much. Look at yourself here. Yeah. Nope, too much. Other way. There you go. So you can see, I'll move now. There. See, you can see here, look how far back the shoulder is. Turn around to the other side.
Mm.
Look at that. See how much of it's like hiding. It hides the
Yeah.
chest. Go back to the other one now. Look, squared off, nice and sharp through here. It drops off. And then you can see how full everything is up through here. The lung goes to the other side again. Look at that. Look how round and winged out this is and how much flesh you can see through here. Go back to the other side now again. And see how much less flesh you can see through here.
Mm-hmm.
Strap and nothing. It's just shoulder the way it should be. All right, let me. So, let me get this. Where's this go? All right, come hold this. Hold it up. You guys see me. All right. So thank you for our first one. I hope it wasn't too terrible.
Hell no, that was
we'll
awesome.
Figure this out. Get this whole thing. I got some other lighting and stuff that's going to come in. So this was really just my first dry run. I wanted it to still be something that was effective that everybody could do. Thank you, Mama. Overall, like when you're seeking things out, whether it's your own therapy or whether it's therapy you're doing on somebody else. Brain words are now hard. Find the hardest tissue you can find. Use the range of motion, like go through here. And if the elbow bends, then you got some major chest tension. And if they can't get the arm up, then you know that they have some major lat tension. So if the arm doesn't extend all the way up, you know that you got some major lat tension you need to work on. If the arm bends and can't come back, you know that the pec is getting involved. So that's the two different things to look at. Bent elbow, look at the chest. Can't get it all the way up, look at the lat, okay? And that's the same thing that you would assess if you're doing it with foam rolling, stretching, anything. So when you would take, traditionally, like in the session when we do the partner therapy, I'm gonna have Sarah do the stretching on me at the end. So it's gonna be a lot more concise. Obviously the next ones, I'm not gonna be yapping about as much of the dynamic of the actual course. It's gonna be more right to it. And also, hopefully we have like a little bit different setup and stuff like that to where I can just come in and over. That's what I'm going to work towards. And I think I'm going to try and get it to where I can do it set up and have the second camera to where I can put the phone and everything. So I have two different angles. So I'm not changing it back and forth. So that way you guys can see more of the close-ups and see the tissue change as I'm doing it. And just when you're on the hard spots, that's the key to all therapy is being patient. Most doctors and therapists I've trained over the years, they aren't patient. They're taught that the second they feel something to move on, and to get like they try and get more done than they do getting deeper and getting more relief. So try and take the spots, and like I say with foam rolling, stay on them for 3 to 5 minutes, or if you're doing pressure on somebody, just keep moving it and shaking it and just letting it melt away. And we're going to save this. It's on the computer, so we're having to figure that out with it. So I'm going to save this. We're probably just going to send out a link or somewhere we're hosting it initially. And then, if anybody has some suggestions, please do email us on where to host it. The key is I want to host it and hide it so that way nobody's getting it for free for the people, because this is all the subscribed content. So I want to have a place where I can host these and give a password or whatever that people can go check, or just send out the email telling people to go look and it's updated. So look for that. I'm going to post this for everybody to see. And once we figure out exactly where to be hosted or where it's going to be hosted. And then Sunday, 9 o'clock Pacific, that's where we're going to be doing this. I might be changing this one to Wednesday. Sarah said that she liked the whole Sunday, Wednesday more than Sunday, Thursday. So I might change it to where I do Sunday and Wednesday. And then also I'm going to get some better lighting. So that way, when it does get darker, especially like towards the later parts of the year, I won't have any worries about the lights. So thanks again for coming, guys. I really do appreciate. Oh yeah, that's right. So here I am going spinning. So how do we unmute them? Do you guys anybody have any questions they want to ask about anything? Let me get the.
Just real quick, I got one more. One question is when you were talking about the arm overhead. Can you hear me okay?
1 second, Kathy. Sorry.
Sure.
Try it. Can you say? Go ahead, Kathy. Say something.
All right.
Yeah, there you go.
So you said when you have the bent elbow thing going on, that's typically the tight chest. what was the part about the overhead? It was the lats, but what does that part represent?
So like the way to assess it is if you can't get your arm like mine. See that? See right at the part there, it starts to like grab back down. So I can feel everything right through the back side. So normally when the elbow bends, it's the things connected to the front side of the body that are preventing the elbow from being able to straighten. And when it's the arm that can't lift, it's the back side of the body down into the lat that you can't, it is the way to assess it there, because that's the muscles that are inhibiting that motion.
That worked. Thanks.
Cool. Anything else? Anybody else?
How do we apply to be one of the models?
Oh,
I'm down.
Yeah, man.
yeah, you'd have to be able to be here twice a week. So
Totally. I could do that. I have a car.
all right, cool. All right, so I mean, I'll
Hey, wait a minute, I'm fighting you for that spot.
so I'll definitely put you in there, and I'll probably just let you be if you can do that, I can probably just let you be the next guy who does it for it. So thank you. I really appreciate that.
Of course, man.
And then anybody else, any more questions?
No, I think you answered everything.
Yeah,
Good
pretty
job.
much.
What's
Very-
next class going to be?
Huh?
What's next class going to be? So we did upper
So
body.
Sunday is going to be the self-therapy version, and then next week we're going to go into like how to drop the rib cage, which is going to be really huge for people to learn how to foam roll everything through here and get all this to come down. It makes your waist look better, but there's so many things about the organ function and just the diaphragm, especially nowadays. Like there's so many other things that are inhibiting our breathing. So just to be able, and plus people just don't breathe today. There's so many reasons for that. People just don't breathe, including that's the number one thing that I struggle with is breathing. So I know if I'm an advocate for this and I struggle with breathing, I'm sure a lot of people struggle with breathing. And opening this area, when I get major panic attacks in the past and things like that, when I would free this area up and allow that oxygen to come in much, much deeper, the anxiety, depression, stress, things like that would cause that to kick right in, I noticed was almost like an asphyxiation feeling. I was being withheld from what I was trying to take in, and therefore it was causing my nervous system to freak out. And also it's going to be getting through the whole region of this part to drop. So we're going to get this part of the rib cage to come out, and we're going to get this part of the rib cage to come in. So this will drop in. It'll make your pecs look a lot better, but it also makes boobs look a lot better because they don't drop and they'll hold themselves there. But if you don't have a droopy chest or a droopy boob, then you won't have the shoulders constantly feeling like you got grocery bags, pulling on them, like you're walking around just like this all day. That's what happens when this area gets weak. Doesn't matter if it's a guy or girl, that slight weight of it ends up just wreaking havoc. And if you do anything like this for any period of time in a day, it's just going to further accelerate that. So that's going to be the next one. It's also going to we'll start to touch into the calcified strip of the iliac crest and everything that people get, which, when the pelvis shifts anterior, it hits a wall called the lower back. And eventually that strap is just going to be a brick. Almost every lifter, every competitor, especially bikini girls and stuff, they have massive, massive straps of tension through there. So we'll drop that down. That's going to get the pelvis down. The next session, next week after that, we're going to go through the hips, get all this through the trochanter, get everything to wake the glutes up and turn them on. Then we'll move down into quads and hamstrings, everything below the knee the week after that. And then we'll do hands and feet. We really need to do a whole session on just showing people the different things, because I really can articulate things and convey them in a way that when you can just sit and when you have time to kill, play with your hands and play with different motions and stuff in your feet, or roll a ball with your feet. I mean, you can make it like a whole euphoric part of your day. I know it really works with me because I'm always working with my hands, but so many of us are doing things that are just destroying our hands, our wrists, and carpal tunnel and everything. Mm-hmm. So thanks so much for coming. If you have any questions that you didn't think of right now, shoot me a message. I'll be glad to answer it. If you haven't joined the Discord, I have the link in my bio, but we're also going to be sending that out in the email if I haven't already. So if you don't have that, just email us. I can send you the link to get into the Discord. And Discord is basically just a community where you can go in, kind of like Facebook with no pictures or anything, and everybody can just communicate, have questions, support each other, and figure anything out if I'm not there. But I'll also be on there to answer questions and stuff too. You got a question?
Yeah. So I was just curious, is this all the people that's in the class right now? 7?
No, we have over 30 right now. I I didn't want to make a fool of myself, so I really stopped pushing it really hard because I thought I might get 5-10 people to start or something, or but I ended up getting over 30, and I was like, wow, I really like if all of them come the first time, I want to make sure this runs right. So now I got a couple marketing guys who will push it up, but I really want to blow it up because I'm never going to stop doing this as long as I can. And for everybody else, I mean, if I can grow this community, then I really think there'll be a lot less pain in this world. And so much of the physical is what causes the internal, and so much of the internal is what causes the outside. So working with the outside could sometimes take somebody right out of like a depression decline and pull them right into a state of motivation just because they release some tension in their body. It does affect one, affects the other, but more than that, I mean, it's a high. When you really, really open the body all the way up, it's a high. It really makes the internal side hard to battle with, because you feel so good on the outside that the inside really, it just becomes a lot easier to deal with. And any situation becomes better to deal with. But so please also, if I am going to have, I think once a month, I think I'm going to throw 1 weekend where I do something different so I want, because people have already been asking me for different things to specialize on something, a certain thing that's outside of the realm, maybe a different tool that is like, that everybody is like flossing or whatever, like people are getting really into like different things. So I probably will pick one thing a month and maybe do one class on that. So if you guys have any questions or things you want to suggest on that, just send them my way, and it might be the next class that we do on that too. So
One more.
Oh, I also got one.
Okay.
Yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
thinking about like, okay, when I was going to try to get a session with you and I didn't get to, darn it, but you are doing a 4-hour session. So in regards to how you're doing your class, and how this might help us to tie in, are you going to kind of cover like as you go, what you might like maybe towards the end before we finish, how you would tie into one whole session? Or do you just kind of like, are you showing us everything you do in your like one session as we're going?
I mean,
I know each person's going to be different.
say that again. What did you say the last part?
I said, I know each person is going to be an individual, thing that you're working on.
Yeah, a lot of what is that? Is that coming up? Oh, it's probably.
Gabe, move your hand, bud.
Yeah, there we
Oh,
go.
my bad.
The sessions I'm trying to do is close to what I would do, because that's really what I do with it. But I hope like in the pieces, each 12-week block is going to cover all of the body, like through and through. So more or less, I want people to be able to go back to it and start connecting their own pieces. I'm doing them in the order that I do in a 4-hour session. So in my 4-hour session, there's 4 quadrants of the body. So boom, boom, down to the knees, feet down. So there's 4 quadrants. That's why I do 4 hours. And it allows me enough time to do the nervous system. So I'm going to try and do my best to connect it on, because everybody says we're all different. No, we're not. Okay. Like you'd walk into a hospital with 8 billion different sciences if that was the truth. We all have our different current state, but when you peel back the layers, we're all the same people. So to assess the body, I mean, it'd be different if me and you like both didn't sit, stand, or travel, but every human being stands and travel. So we all see similar things. So you won't find a person that really has much more than a different pattern than you have, but you'll probably have very similar characteristics as far as your tension and things you could describe to somebody. And when you get to learn about it, then you'll actually talk to people in a way that like when I would, and it'll provoke that response for them to say like, oh yeah, like I can't move my arm like this. And then you'd be like, oh wow, this guy showed me how to like rub my chest on the wall and it made my shoulder better, like stuff like that. So, I mean, that's really what it all evolved from for me. So I'm going to try and make it just the most seamless process to where by the end of the 12 weeks, you could go back through it and you could build your own pattern, because you're going to find stuff like as you hit your shoulder, for me, it might pull into my right glute, but for you, it might tweak your knee. So you might find that going from the knees down after you did the shoulder assessment, that might be where your awareness in the meridians neurologically, your pathway might have built up, and it was the knee that caused your shoulder to blow out because you were walking funny and your shoulder ended up being leveraged different every time you used it. So I hope to get it to where people can understand that and they can figure out like, oh, okay, my awareness shifted from here after I did my shoulder. So now I need to go to that part and do segment 8. So Gabe, I think it was.
Yeah. So when you're like working on somebody or even on yourself, do you know like in what direction are you pulling on the cords, or does it even matter? Like,
It's hard because the fascia is a low distribution network. So if I get pushed here, it's like 100%, 50%, 20%, you know what I mean? So it's basically how we don't explode in car accidents. So if you think about it that way, the fascia is never really going to have a consistent pattern ever. If it does, it has my consistent pattern, it has your consistent pattern, but it doesn't have a consistent pattern ever because the connecting fascia. So when you get to like the serratus and the pec minor and going up into the front delt, there is a sheath in like Spider-Man that will just connect and weave all different ways. So when you push your pec muscle, you might pull up and come down and find the trigger point. I might come up and go lateral and find the trigger point. So it doesn't really matter on you versus me. That's why I say just 360 degrees. When you get in here, you get on it, you find the hard spot, and then you go like, do I go on top and press down? Do I come up? Which way? And then you got to be patient enough to wait and press hard, back off a little bit and see if it melts. If it doesn't, go down. Does it melt? Does it go this way? Does it melt? And really, then you're figuring out like a hard part is going to be like a longer button. So it's going to take longer for that button to get to the bottom before it clicks, if that makes sense. So the trigger point that's old is going to be like a hard button that you got to really be patient, click, and then you'll feel it pulse like a bomb went off under the surface. And that's when you know like, okay, I'm getting the right one. But if you press and it goes away and you're getting this like shooting pain in your eye and you're sitting there and you're like, this must be the way, it's not most likely the way, because it shouldn't be something that doesn't immediately within about 10 seconds show you some kind of movement. It should start melting, or otherwise you're probably pulling it in the wrong direction. And it's the same thing as squatting like this, or, squatting like this. You can feel something for not the right reason at all. And just because you move a certain way and something feels something doesn't mean that it's the right feeling. So it's different for everybody. Your pressure is going to be different for everybody. How long you hold each area is going to be different. Obviously, a bigger muscle is going to take longer and harder pressure than a smaller muscle. But I always use it. It's like a bad reference, but Chinese water torture, okay? Tap, 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 and your skull turns to mush over a period of time. That's a bad way to think about it. But if that can turn a skull to mush, then it doesn't mean it equates to the body doesn't need to be super aggressive in the way we look at it therapeutically. Okay. So I've worked on fibromyalgia clients that all I could do is this for 8 months, but I melted their whole body away with 2 fingers and like 10 pounds of pressure. It was amazing that she even paid me for 8 months to do that every session. But it got to the point where it was pliable enough to where I could melt tons of tissue away with just no pressure. And in 8 months, I could put a full handstand on this lady who had fibromyalgia, So if you look at that, then just assess it. If you have a spot too, that's like, oh, this is so painful. Don't work that spot, go around it and find out if you can make that spot less sensitive by loosening something around it. Because your body pain, like in your foot, would tell you that it's an indicator that there's something going on. But that pain in your foot almost always is going to come from up in your shin or your calf. You know what I mean? So always seek around it, try and find the pathways and stuff, but you'll really, really quickly find it, man. Cause I'll teach somebody with the Theragun or their fingers in 2 seconds and I watch them do it and they're just like, oh wow, that works. And then that's it. I teach somebody the pulmonary once and they never come back for another session. Cause they're like, I applied it to everything and you were right. I didn't need it. And it really is that easy. But the first factor is you have to realize you're not going to hurt yourself because somebody showed you the right way. You have to know that you're doing it the right way and that it's going to be something that helps your body. And after that, people just go nuts. And when you look at your body and know that you made a difference and you actually wake up and feel that you made a difference, you're at your house. I mean, you can do this all day long. That's why I wanted to do this. So people can just therapeutically work on themselves methodically instead of like stressing about setting an appointment in these times, like all the stuff that just comes with doing anything now and going into public. I mean, it's crazy. So all the stuff that like that, and people don't want to deal with it, and people just don't want to leave. And if you think about times in your life, these kind of things are the things that people cut out of their life first because it's easy to not do them. So, all right, guys.
Okay. Thank you.
You got another question?
Yeah. So I have a really curious question. Could you wear more than one grounding kit if it's spot specific?
I mean, if you lay on the ground and you have your whole body touching, grounding has a better effect because it's feeding you all over. There's something to be said about like the socket is only going to connect to you one time. So, I mean, if you were to do it and put it around your body, you're not really creating a bigger signal, if that makes sense.
Right. So let's say I wore one around my neck, one around my waist, and would there be any problems with that?
No, there's no problem with it. You're feeding spot, so you are spot targeting the
Right.
DC electric current, which is what heals you. You are spot targeting that. You're spot targeting the circulation and all the things that. I mean, if you have you ever read the 21 peer-reviewed articles? They did a lot of that stuff. So if you look up peer-reviewed evidence on
haven't.
grounding and earthing, there's 21 articles. If you read it, you see how they did it with spot targeting. That's why I made the anklet and everything, because they were doing spot targeting with different circulation and things. Or I mean, causing circulation and getting, like on horses, they were grounding them and getting like 36% increase in healing and stuff because they were doing different extremities and stuff like that. But they were putting grounding mats around them and stuff on chiropractors, and it was causing the horses to heal almost 40% faster from races. So
Wow.
there is a lot of power in it. It's just, there's a current in the earth. If you look at it, it's a big battery. So
Yeah.
if you connect to it with all extremities, there is a difference. So, but you're on the earth, you have a huge capacitor. When you're in your house, you have the one socket. So I don't really think it's going to make much of a difference, but it won't hurt.
Have you ever thought about making a grounding mat for us?
I am. I'm making an EMF blocking blanket that will actually be out of silver. It'll block it and it'll connect to the grounding. So the whole thing will be grounded. All right, guys, we got to run. Thanks so much. We'll see you on Sunday.
Bye-bye.
Sarah says bye. End meeting for all. Take care, guys.